Alright, we want to keep the gems because we can use that to make valuable jewelry. Books, nothing really worth selling. Oh, whatever, it's not that useful. Now to sell him off this jewelry here. Alright, one moment. Okay then, Yeah, I think we've sold him everything that... Well, we don't need these magic, potions. I'd say we've done enough for now. A bit less money than we had before, but we got things we need.
I better get back to sorting the dry goods.
Now that I've traded up a storm here, I think I want to head up and actually visit this Temple of Dibella that everyone keeps talking about. Excuse me. I believe it's right up this way.
Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
Oh, shut up. I'll stab you in the eye.
Out of my way, outsider.
Excuse me.
Why are you bothering the outsider?
Oh, the hell with you.
I should get back to work. Money doesn't count itself.
Yeah, let's not run around the temple.
The sisters are communing with Dibella. They can't be disturbed. You'll have to come back another time. I'm sorry, the Temple of Dibella is closed. You can receive your blessing if you wish, but the other sisters are in seclusion.
Who is Dibella? This is her temple?
A heathen. Lovely. Oh, don't put on that angry look. I'm just teasing you. Dibella is the divine of beauty. She is a patron deity to artists and bards and those who seek life's simple pleasures. The temple offers her blessings to pilgrims, and instruction in enjoying all life has to offer.
Sounds pretty good. Instruction? Where do I sign up?
Well, you are lovely to look at, and there's so many things I could teach you, but I'm afraid the temple isn't taking in new students.
Well, yes, you look lovely as well. So why is the temple closed?
The sisters are communing with Dibella. They can't be disturbed. You'll have to come back another time.
They're busy communing, and, not taking in new students. Can't help but feel a little bit rejected. Lovely to look at. Did she really mean that? Goodness knows I didn't mean it. Alright. Well, let's get ready to go to the inn. Yeah, we don't need to take all day though. Here I was thinking I might get some more professional instruction on the ways of basic restoration magic, but it appears that's not going to happen. Oh, it's definitely been a long series of days though. I think what I want to do is head on back here,
Outsiders.
get a good bite to eat, have a drink, rest in our room, enjoy a good read. I think that's what we need to
Come on
do.
in. The Silverblood Inn has plenty of strong drink and clean rooms. This is the Silverblood Inn. I'll let you figure out who owns it by yourself.
Heard any rumors lately?
Degain the beggar got himself kicked out of the Temple of Dibella. Caused quite the ruckus.
That's fun. So, you know anywhere about learning about magic?
Any aspiring mage would do well to look for the college in Winterhold. Head there, and you'll get what you're after. Although our Jarl's humble wizard might be willing to help you too.
Well, I'm also looking for a bit of work. You got any leads?
Here, take a look at this. Some of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter.
Thanks. So, I'd like to see what you got for sale.
Take a look.
Definitely could use some more food. I'll take the salt, of course. I'll take the wine, apple pie, baked potatoes, bread, cheese, sweet roll, naturally, seared slaughterfish, ghost meat, or goat meat, rather. Yeah, a little bit of ale. That's good enough for me. I also like to rent a room.
Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way.
I'm gonna be a silversmith one day, like my mother and father.
Kings, on the day of your death, we'll drink and we'll sing.
Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Children of Skyrim, and we fight all our lives. And when Sovngarde beckons, every one of us dies.
Frobby, our customer needs a drink.
But
Let's enjoy some of that food. Baked potatoes and bread, a bit of cheese, some of that ale, some wine, and that apple pie. Oh, that sounds good to me. Alright, and let's maybe read one of these books. How about The Rear Guard by Tennis Morrill. The castle would hold, no matter the forces. The walls of Cascabel Hall would never fail, but that was small consolation for Meniger. He was hungry. In fact, he had never been so hungry. The well in the atrium of the fortress supplied him with enough water to hold there until the Fourth Era, but his stomach reminded Meniger minute to minute that he needed food. The wagon load of supplies mocked him. When his army, the forces of the King of Solitude, had left Cascabel Hall, and he had manned the battlements as the rear guard to protect their retreat, they had left a wagon behind to supply him with enough food for months. It was not until the night after they left that he inspected the larder and found that nothing edible was in the wagon. Trunk after trunk was filled with netch armor from the army's incursion into Morrowind. Apparently his Nord confederates had assumed that the lightly opaque material was hardtack in aspic. If the Dunmer whose caravan had been raided knew about this, they would never be able to stop laughing. Meniger thought that his fellow mercenary and kinswoman Erin would have found this amusing as well. She had spoken with great authority about netch leather, being an expert of sort on light armor, but she had made a point to mention that it could not be eaten like other leather in occasions of hardship. It was a pity she couldn't be there to enjoy the irony, Meniger thought savagely. She had returned to Morrowind even before the king's army had left, preferring a life as a wanted fugitive to a free existence in the cold of Skyrim. All the weeds in the courtyard had been devoured by the rearguard's 16th day manning Cascabel Hall. The entire castle had been scoured, rotten tubers in the mulch pile found and consumed, a dusty bouquet in the countess's bedchamber eaten, almost every rat and insect but the most cunning infesting the castle walls had been tracked down and gobbled up. The castellan's chambers, filled with acrid, inedible law books, had yielded up a couple crumbs of bread. Meniger had even scrapped moss from the stones. There was no denying it. He would be dead from starvation before his army returned to break the ranks of the enemies who surrounded the fortress. The worst part, said Meniger, who had taken to talking to himself on only the second day alone in the castle, is how close sustenance is. A vast arbor of golden apples stretched acre after acre near the castle walls. The sunlight cast a seductive gleam on the fruit, and the cruel wind carried sweet smells into Cascabel to torture him. Like most Bosmer, Meniger was an archer. He was a master of long and medium-distance fighting, but in close quarters, as he would be if he dared to leave the castle and enter the enemy camp in the arbor, he knew he would not last long. At some point he knew he would have to try, but he had been dreading the day. It was upon him now. Meniger put on the netch armor for the first time, feeling the powdery, almost velvet texture of the rendered leather against his skin. There was also a barely perceptible throb, which he recognized as the remnant nematocysts of the netch's feminist flesh, still tingling months after its death with domesticated poison. The combination made him feel energized. Aaron had described the sensation perfectly, just as she had explained how to defend himself while wearing netch leather armor. Under cover of night, Meniger crept out the back gate of the castle, locking it behind him with a rather cumbersome key. He made for the arbor as quietly as he could, but a passing sentry coming behind a tree saw him. Remaining calm, Meniger did as he remembered Aaron had instructed, only moving after the attack had been launched. The sentry's blade glided against the armor and knocked to the left, throwing the young man off balance. That was the trick, as he understood it. You had to be prepared to be hit, and merely move with the blow, allowing the membranous armor to divert the injury away. Use your enemy's momentum against him, as Aaron used to say. There were several more close encounters in the arbor, but each swing of an axe and each thrust of a sword found purchase elsewhere. With handfuls of apples, Meniger ran the gauntlet back to the castle. He locked the back door gate behind him and fell into an orgy of eating. For week after week, the Bosmer stole out to gather his food. The guards began anticipating his raids, but he kept his schedule irregular and always remembered when attacked to wait for the blow, accept it, and then turn. In such a way he lived and survived his lonely vigil in Cascable Hall. 4 months later, as he was preparing for another seizure of apples, Meniger heard a loud clamor at the front gate. Surveying the group from a safe distance on the battlements, he saw the shields of the King of Solitude, his ally the Count of Cascabel, and their enemy the King of Faerun. Evidently a truce had been called. Meniger opened the gates, and in the combined armies flooded the courtyard. Many of the knights of Faerun sought to strike the hand of the man they had named the Shadow of the Arbor, expressing their admiration at his defensive skills, and apologizing good-naturedly for their attempts to slay him. Only doing their job, you know. There's hardly an apple left on the vine, said the King of Solitude. Well, I started on the edges and worked my way in, explained Meniger. I brought back extra fruit to tempt the rats out of the walls so I could have a little meat as well. We spent the last several months working out the details of the truce, said the king. Really quite exhausting. In any rate, the Count will be taking back possession of his castle now, but there's a small detail we need to work out. You're a mercenary, and as such responsible for your own expenses. If you had been a subject of mine, things might be different, but there are certain old rules of law that must be respected. Meniger anticipated the strike. The problem is, the king continued, you've taken a good deal of the Count's crops while here. By any reasonable computation, you've eaten an amount equal to and likely exceeding your mercenaries' wages. Obviously, I would not want to penalize you for the excellent job you've done defending the castle in uncomfortable circumstances, but you agree that it's important that we observe the old rule of laws, don't you? Of course, replied Meniger, accepting the blow. I'm delighted to hear that, said the king. Our estimation is that you owe the Count of Cascabel 37 imperial gold, which I will gladly pay to myself, with interest, after the autumn-tide harvest, said Meniger. There's more left in the vine than you suggest. The Kings of Solitude and Faerun, and the Count of Cascabel stared at the Bosmer. We agree to abide to the strictest old rules of law, and I've had time to read a great many books over the time you were making your truce. In 3rd Era 246, during the reign of Uriel IV, the Imperial Council, in an attempt to clear up some questions of property rights in Skyrim during those chaotic days, decreed that any man without a liege who occupied a castle for more than 3 months would be granted the rights and titles of that estate. It's a good law, of course, meant to discourage absent and foreign landlords. Meniger smiled, feeling the now familiar sensation of a glancing strike diverting. By the rule of law, I am the Count of Cascabel. The rearguard's son still holds the title of Count of Cascabel, and he grows the finest, most delectable apples in the Empire. Oh, yes, indeed. Ah, that was a good read. Get out of here. No, I want you to leave.
I should remind Klepper to clean this place up.
Always be prepared. That's the moral of that story. I love it. Lucky bastard. Alright, well, let's get a decent night's sleep. I'd say we could sleep for a solid 12 hours. I'm exhausted. Ah, that feels so much better.
Unlike my husband Clepper, I watch after our guests.
Oh, that's nice. Hey, you. Come here.
I'm going to find whoever did this. My Holmes. I said Holmes, you backbiter. Give a crippled worker a helping hand.
You say something about money?
Aye, a whole heap of it. You see that temple? Way up there? All them women keeping to themselves? Won't let poor DeGain in, nope. Not even for a look. But they've got a treasure in there. Gold statue size of a child. Who knows what they use it for, but I know what I'll use it for.
Are you saying you want me to steal it?
Well, let's not put it like that. Wouldn't want the Thieves Guild catching wind of us, eh? Nah, just creep in and have a go at taking it out. I'll be here and pay you half of what my man in Riften promised for it. You'll be helping out an old beggar, and the divine smile on that sort of thing. How about a septum? Wait, make that 2 septums. I feel like living it up.
I have a question about the statue.
What is there to know? It's in the temple, you bring it out. You bring it to me, I pay you. Now get moving.
You have a gold piece, you bum.
Finally. Now get lost. Bring more gold next time.
You bastard. So, what did we learn about? Well, we could always steal that statue from the Temple of Dibella if we feel like causing trouble. There's killing the leader of the Deepwood Redoubt, bringing a Daedra Heart over this way, getting that shield back for Igmund. We did kill Petra. I don't know why that's still there, but whatever. Either way, there's still plenty for us to do here. As for now, though, I think it might be a good idea to maybe just relax a little bit. And then maybe in a little while, we'll figure out what we want to do with the rest of our day. Either way, though, I think we've made excellent progress, all things considered. And it does always feel good when that happens. But now I think it's time for a break.